Guys, in this video, I want to talk to you about my strategy and my plan to target under the radar countries, not cities, under the radar countries as I scale my personal Rank and Rent agency. If you haven't seen any of my other videos for this year, 2025, we are making a systematic but big push to grow our agency to add an extra $57.5 thousand of revenue. And again, in a very systematic, fluid way where I'm not, killing myself in the process. I'm not burning out. I'm not even doing a lot of the actual legwork. I'm just the puppet master behind, I guess, pulling the strings, or you could call it the QB, whatever. But we're going to be targeting other countries. We're going to be testing out other countries. And back in 2020, one of the things that allowed me, and this is why I'm doing this, by the way, back in 2020, one of the things that really helped us scale is we took a different approach. Everyone else was zigging. We decided to zag. What do I mean by that? Well, I had always heard, the riches are in the niches, the riches are in the niches, the riches are in the niches. And I knew that was true. But I also spent like a year and a half, 2 years, maybe even more, searching for that perfect niche, searching for that niche that nobody had ever thought of, nobody had ever touched. And I was going to find it, and I was going to, go vertical with it and make my millions of dollars. And after trying all these different niches and having, no luck in finding that obscure niche, it occurred to me in 2020 when I was scaling up, maybe it was late 2019, I was like, Nick, you already know that, these certain niches work. Why don't you just focus on what works? And why don't you just focus on the city? Why don't you go into obscure cities that nobody wants to touch, right? Nobody wants to touch. It's kind of like on the Wolf of Wall Street, right? Where they went and they went after the pink sheets. Everyone wanted the blue chip stuff. I think it was called the blue chip. They wanted all the fancy stuff, the Disney stock, I don't know what else was there at the time, the Coca-Cola stock. And they're like, no, we're going to go after the pink sheets. That's what I did in 2020. And I started going after these rural towns. I started going into cities that I never thought I would touch. Cities I don't even like to drive through. I don't even like to stop in. And I thought, you know what? As long as there's enough search volume, why the heck wouldn't it work? So what we're going to do this year, because I know that strategy works, it works really well. It worked really well. I've taught all of my students in Digital Landlords to do the exact same thing. They've had tremendous success. My little brother's done this exact same strategy, targeting these little towns across the US. He's at 10K a month by using this strategy. In fact, I was talking to him last night on a Zoom call, and he showed me a website. I didn't even know where the city was, which is rare because I've studied the map so much. That works. So here we are, 2025. And I'm like, let's do what other people are not doing. Let's figure out how to zig while everyone else is zagging, right? Or zag while everyone else is zigging, whatever you want to say. Or as I recently heard, zug. And so what I'm going to be doing, what my agency is going to be doing, is we're going to be doing this, but from a macro level. We're going to be looking at what countries is nobody targeting. Everyone's targeting the US. Everybody's targeting the US. I've made millions of dollars in the US. I've got a bunch of clients that are still paying me, and they're going to keep paying me in the US. But what are the countries that this actually is going to work very, very well in that nobody's thinking about, right? How do I go into the obscure country? I'm going to go into my same. So guys, I'm keeping right now, as of right now this could change, but right now my plan is, and this isn't my only strategy, but this is one of the core pillars of my strategy, is same niches in obscure countries. Okay. Now this is going to take a little bit more testing. It's going to take probably a little bit more capital. It's going to take a lot more failure, but I'm going to be targeting countries. And guys, once I break into a country, I can sit in that country and I can ride it all the way to the bank. That's the beautiful part about this. Because and by the way, just so everybody knows, where did this come from? The idea and the thought originated because I was going through my training, right? My own personal Digital Landlords training. One of the things I'm doing this year, I'm going back to the basics, man. I'm going back to what works. I'm going back to freaking watching sales training in the morning, doing sales calls in the afternoon, like just getting back to the basics, making freaking money and doing so in a systematic way that's not going to kill me. That's the difference this time. I'm not going to go and just kill myself, because I did that in 2020 when we scaled up from zero, from 8 to 10,000 to 100,000 per month. I'm not doing that this year. But I was watching my own training. I was in Digital Landlords kind of as a student. And I was watching, we have a module that talks about picking the perfect city and the perfect niche. And I went and I started doing some homework on where in the country is getting the most searches for concrete. Because I was like thinking about concrete. I know everyone's wondering, is it saturated? Can people still have success in it? Blah, blah, blah. And so I thought, you know what, let me look at from a worldwide view. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's going to be this state or that state. Guys, the place that had the most search volume was some obscure little tiny, I didn't know where it was, tiny island off of the coast of Africa, far off the coast of Africa, but off of the coast of Africa. And I'm not saying I'm going to target there, because I'm sure that there's a company that has a monopoly, but it got me thinking, that is the country that has the most demand in the world. I've never even heard of it. So think about that, guys. And by the way, I was looking at concrete contractors, not just concrete, not ready-made concrete contractors. The most highly searched, the country with the most searches for that phrase is a tiny little country off the coast of Africa. That got me thinking, dude, let's do the same principle. Let's extract out, let's zoom out a bit, and let's go after obscure countries. So in 2025, my agency, Evergreen Leads, Evergreen Enterprises, same thing. We are going to be focusing on what works, but we're also going to be looking at what are the obscure countries that we can bust into that none of you guys are thinking about, that nobody's willing to try. I'm willing to try. It's kind of like taking the Dollar General approach, right? Dollar General, they have a freaking Dollar General in the most podunk freaking cities you can possibly imagine, and they are crushing it by selling stuff. By the way, it's not even cheaper. Most of the stuff isn't even cheaper, but they call it Dollar General and somehow it works. Anyway, it's kind of the Dollar General approach I'm taking, and I'm super stoked about it. I'll be sharing my findings. You guys know how I am. I try to share everything that I'm doing, but now I want to share it in real time. I don't want to talk about what I've done. I want to talk about what I'm doing. So guys, with that said, I'll see you on the next video. Let's go get it in 2025.